Hey everyone. Today we're talking about networking, which is a huge topic. I mean, it's a hugely important part of our job. Obviously, it's in the title right there. It's network marketing, right? It's called that for a reason, because this type of business is, not designed for us to market to like total strangers that we have no connection to, Um, we don't like put up billboards on the street, for for our businesses. That's not really how we're going to effectively do our jobs. So like network marketing means, marketing to your network of people that you are connected to. What that essentially means is that you have no marketing, you have no business if you don't have a strong network. So that means that you need to do like two main things as like this huge part of your job. You need to strengthen the network that you already have, those relationships with those people to, nurture the connection that you have so that you become someone that, your people really like, trust, believe in, want to hear your advice, that care about what you have to say. You want to be a positive impact, influence on their lives, And then the other main piece, of course, is that you need to always be adding to your network and expanding it. So, building your actual like network of people, real humans that you are connected to. So, and this is like really part of this whole, it's the long game aspect of what we do. This is something that takes a lot of like just little micro work that like compounds over time. So a lot of the work that you're going to put into the network stuff is not necessarily going to like pay off immediately kind of thing. So it's one of those things you just have to like have faith that like this is super important. I need to focus on this stuff. This is part of my daily work, even though it's not necessarily going to put money in the bank like today. You know what I mean? So okay, so expanding your network. So this means, getting out there, whether in person or online. Really you should be doing both. Meeting new people, putting your face in front of people. Like it's such an important thing. Building relationships with them so that they become like a true part of your network. And what I want you to think of this as, think of yourself as you're a professional friend maker. Okay. Like that's your job. Like that's your main job. Or friend collector, I guess. It's a huge part of the job. Like, again, you truly have nothing of a business if you're not a good friend, and you're not a good friend maker, that's a huge part of it. So, if you go through, the 30 days of sharing, challenge, you'll see a lot of references to this and even like, what this can look like. In person, for me, like, for example, I made myself go to an adult hip hop dance class a while ago. I need to keep going back because, it's every week. And like, that's an opportunity every week for me to do something that, first of all, is just good for my soul, like to not just be nothing but a mom all day, you know what I mean? But is like, I can be meeting new people at something every week. And like, it's not like this awkward thing. Like we're there together for a purpose. We have something in common, that's a good springboard as far as like building relationships. I mean, this could be so many things. Like, like you look at, go through like public events in your, on Facebook, like in your community, you'll see events happening, things going on. I have this like really cute little coffee shop in my town that they do, they put like public events all the time, and they're like often like little art classes or like, oh my gosh, there's like this one I really want to go to. It's like for like lettering, like calligraphy. I'm like, I need to do that. And then also they have free ones. They have like adult coloring. Just come in and like color and like have coffee. Like how cool is that? And like if you just look, you'll find things in your community that are going on like this. I didn't realize that this place even existed until I like looked for like a local events, and I saw, all the stuff that they were doing. So, or like, everyday things like normal, when you're, or like if you're, friends or people that are having some sort of event where you might meet people at, like maybe like make more of an effort to go to those baby showers and birthday parties and stuff like that, like where you'll just run into people that you otherwise wouldn't have, met. And then, you got to make an effort to talk to them and make that connection. Some people, probably some of you, are, the type of person that will literally like make a best friend in like a new best friend in like the checkout line of the grocery store or something. I am not really that person, but if you are, like, dude, like, do your thing, like, strike up those conversations, whenever you can. If you're just being a nice, positive person, like, no one's going to think you're crazy or, like, people like that. People like being noticed and appreciated, and some, you give a compliment to someone or whatever. Like, if you have that kind of, ability to do that or put yourself out there, then definitely do, like, make a conscious effort to do so. I'm also meeting people these days by paying attention to like my local groups. So like groups on Facebook that have little like meetups and get-togethers. There's like a mom's group that's just for my city, that like people will be like, hey, I want to do a play date or a meetup like at the park on Saturday or whatever. Like if you pay attention, like I forced myself to go and do that at like 9 a.m. the other day, which is not something I ever, but it's worth it. I met some cool people that are like, I'm friends with now. Actually, that's an important thing. So the big thing, about in-person meetings is that you need to close the sale of that friendship, girl. You gotta like, seal the deal, reel them in. So like what I mean by that is like, you need to get comfortable at least asking to connect with them like on social media. I mean, it used to be like, oh, give me your digits, like exchange numbers, which definitely do that, if that it feels appropriate or whatever. But at the very least, you can be like, hey, so are you on Facebook? Like we should add each other so that we can meet up with the kids sometime or whatever, super important because like it's a waste to like expend that energy and like try to connect with someone and then you're kind of like, oh, maybe I'll see you again at the park someday, but maybe not. Like, and I've done that, because I just didn't muster up the balls to just get it done. So, little tip. Okay, now let's talk about meeting people online. All the introverts, rejoice. I am a hardcore introvert, if you didn't know. I do enjoy being social, like, on my own terms, like when I know when to expect it and stuff. But like at my core, I would just so rather be in a cave by myself, like all day. Like I need a lot of downtime. And that's just the way I am. So, okay. So that means that even in my downtime, even in my little cave time, I can still spend that time connecting with people online. So my two main spots where I hang out on social media are Facebook and Instagram. I mean, I really just cannot tell you anything about like Snapchat or whatever the kids are using these days. I just can't handle one more thing. So those are my two like wheelhouses. That's what I'm talking about. So on Facebook, groups are where it's at. We talked about this in 30 Days of Sharing. My biggest suggestion is just get yourself into like a lot of groups. And then just kind of see what sticks, like see what feels like your kind of people, like get a vibe, for like what they're like, what's, the kind of the environment in that group. If it feels like, those are, your kind of people. And then concentrate on those ones. So put out the feelers in a bunch of them and then see kind of where you fit. And you'll find in some of these groups, like people will become like super close. Like I have a group that was a due date group. So like moms, if you don't know, like that's a thing now. Like everyone makes like a group for like the month that your kid is going to be born. It became a thing. So I'm in this group for Leona, like for her. So it's like April 2015 babies or whatever. And so I've been in that group for like, over 5 years now. And we are like tight, like super tight, like literally as I speak, there is like a group of them that are meeting up. Like some people are flying into like Texas to go and hang out for the weekend. And like we're all meeting up we're taking the kids to Disney World when they're on their 5th birthday, like a bunch of us. I mean, it's like, it's crazy like what can happen, the level of friendships that can happen just from a group. So like okay, so yeah, so like, but I'm also in, you know, a lot of other groups where like, you know, maybe the group as a whole isn't so super tight, like they don't have that strong of a connection that's holding everyone together, you know, like everyone having kids the same age, like that's a pretty cool thing that, you know, you want to watch the kids growing up and stuff. But like, okay, even if you're in a group about plants or something, you know, you can still make like super meaningful connections with people there. You know, I've made connections with people, you know, here and there just by like, maybe they make a post and like I commented on it and we had like kind of a nice little back and forth, you know, and maybe it was like meaningful enough that I'm like, oh, I'll just go ahead and add her as a friend right now. You kind of have to gauge, like, does it feel like that's the right choice? Another option is like, you can even just kind of jot down their name. I can't remember if I told you this before. Sorry if I have. And you're like, okay, I need to remember like next time that we have another conversation, maybe that would be the time to like add, you know, you can just kind of add them to your little list of love, you know, in that specific group. So, I mean, I've done that a ton. Like I have probably like hundreds of people on my friends list from doing that, like just from groups. And also if you check your like people you may know, sometimes it'll put people that you've like, encountered in your mutual groups there. So check that. You know, what's the harm if you request someone, they deny you, like, oh, well, you know, it's not, you might just put yourself out there. So, okay. So the formula is this, you know, go get in some groups. You can find them for any possible interest you can think of. I mean, I am in local groups, skincare groups, cloth diaper groups, like faith-based groups, political groups. I'm even in a group about golden doodles because I have one of those, even though I'm, you know, doodle, he's whatever. Like there are groups for everything. So get in some groups that you like actually genuinely care to be in. Like your purpose in there is not because, oh, I'm going to go find people that I can sell oils to. Like, no, like you're doing it because you genuinely are interested in that topic and you're going to enjoy spending time in there and like contributing and, you know, like every day taking some time to, you know, thoughtfully comment on people's posts and become somebody who is known in that group. So you want to be like the person that kind of stands out because you're always like giving like solid, like thoughtful input. You know what I mean? Like really, you know, you're being like a positive person to people. You're always encouraging. I mean, like, you know, be yourself, but like, you know, always be thinking about like, how can I be adding value here? And make sure that you're not in the back of your mind thinking, how can I input oils to this conversation? Like you don't really, honestly, like I would almost never recommend bringing up the oils like in groups. The way, way, way better strategy is to simply make a meaningful connection, get them as a friend, and then they're going to see your posts and they realize like, oh, you know, you're not just like trying to sell this stuff. Like, you know, that wasn't why you added, you know what I mean? Like that, or that wasn't why you brought it up in the group. Anyway, so another thing is make sure that you make your own posts in the group that add value to it. So like, and don't be like smarmy. Like I see some people that are like marketers and they'll be like, I really want to make some new mom friends. So everybody put your thing and I'll add you. And like you every single time click over on her profile and it's like sells blah, 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 you know, and people see right through that. So like think about things that you can post that are actually relevant to the group and like, don't, you know, blow your cover as some sort of marketer person, you know? Like, anyway, so this is something that I was kind of shy about for a while, like, cause I'm really good at like just jumping in and commenting on people's stuff. But as far as like posting my own posts in a group, I wasn't doing that much. But what I noticed is like the popular people in a group are, you know, the ones that like I recognize their name and like everyone seems to kind of like them or, you know, they just seem kind of popular. Those are always the people that are making their own posts to the group, right? So like people are seeing you know, their face and they actually like feel like they know them better because they're seeing a little more, you know, pictures from their, whatever it is that, you know, you're talking about. And they just feel like they know them a little bit better. So, you know, so like in the, you know, in a mom group, that I'm in, maybe that's like, you know, posting a picture, like it's like me holding Cedar and he's, what, you know, like, look at this booger-nosed goober driving me nuts today. You know, what kind of toys are your toddlers into these days so I can get them off my back for 5 seconds or something, you know, like, so show a little bit of your personality, be like interesting, and, you know, and then add value and be like making it so that it's about connecting with other people, not just like, here I am. There's definitely some people that are in groups that are annoying with like making it all about me, like, look at my thing, like, don't be an attention whore. Okay. And just want to mention, like, okay, here's the thing, like, as far as like friend requesting people in, you know, from groups, I mean, truly, like, I want to clarify, like, you are not friend requesting people so that you can sell things to them. I mean, like, because again, like that, I mean, this is an issue. This is like, people will see right through that. There are plenty of super obnoxious MLM people doing that. And we are not that, like, we are not that, you are not that, I know you're not that. So you are adding them as a friend because you value them. You see them as someone that you genuinely would want to keep in touch with, like, no matter what, you know, like, you're just like, I mean, it could be somebody that you maybe even like know for a fact, like, they're never gonna, I've had people that I'm relatively certain that they're never gonna buy oils from me, like, pretty sure that that's never gonna happen. But like, does that mean that that's not a valuable connection? Like, of course, like, even, I mean, it can even be a boost to your business to have like strong relationships with people that are gonna want to support you, even though they're not gonna join you. Maybe they're commenting on all your posts and like being, and, you know, just encouraging you in that way, like that, you know, it's always valuable. And like, I've also said this before, but I'll say it again. You need to like fully believe that you, you know, having them as a friend, like you being in that person's life, like, is going to add value to them. You know that like you have something to offer them. And like, yes, it's also includes, you know, living and all of that entails, but like, you yourself have value intrinsically, just you. And, you know, you have your support as a friend, your thoughtful input, your encouragement, all that stuff. And then you also, like, it goes both ways. Like, you know, you're going to be knowing that like they are someone who's adding value to your life. So it needs to be like that type of thing, like that you're just genuinely connecting with them, like without any kind of ulterior motive. Because that's the only way it's going to ever work as far as actually, yes, having an impact on your business down the road. You know, these connections and who, like, the way that you are connecting with people and putting yourself out there has to be like truly organic and authentic in order for it to be effective. You see what I mean? Anyway, yeah. Oh, geez, that's funny. I wrote some funny notes about that. I'll put that in the book. I'm gonna, you know. Okay. So yeah, this is just, the point is that you are a community builder. The point that just becomes part of who you are. And that's a really, really good skill to cultivate within yourself. You know, you become a gatherer, you know, you attract people to you, you do things for them, you know, that, like that, and that is always going to serve you, you know, in business and in life, like forever, you know? Yeah. So, okay, now let's talk about Instagram. So just some practical things with that. So on Instagram, instead of groups, you can find people in a number of different ways. One is definitely hashtags. So you're going to want to do some digging around and notice the hashtags that people use, like maybe people that you follow that you like. Go and like browse through those, see like the little ones that are connected, and just kind of like, if you come across like a feed and a hashtag that's like, ooh, yeah, like this is my jam, like this, you know, this is where I would love to read all these posts and stuff, you're in the right place. Like, those are going to be your kind of people. So, and again, just like with the Facebook groups, there are Instagram communities for like everything. Like, okay, you guys know that, well, maybe you don't, I haven't done it in like a couple months, but, I like got really into baking bread, this year. And, there is like, I mean, I'm not even surprised at this point because there's a community for everything. There is literally a massive community of people who bake bread on Instagram. Like, one of the hashtags is like, Breadstagram, and I have literally like made friends through hashtag Breadstagram, like because it's like, oh, like, we do this thing together, you know. So okay, so as far as like what this actually looks like, so say you follow someone, like maybe an influencer who uses hashtags on their posts. Click over to a hashtag. If you see, see if it catches your eye or interest, and then from there you can find the related one. So that's how you do hashtag research. Like you see all the little suggestions, you click through those, you keep finding stuff. And then, so you're in a place where you're like, this is a cool hashtag, I'm liking this stuff. You scroll through and you're gonna find posts that like catch your eye. So click there on that post and then click through to that person's profile. And you're gonna see what kind of a following that they have. So if they're like you and they have like, less than like 1,000 followers, awesome. That's what you want. So then you're gonna like go through and, heart, double tap, 3 of their posts, and then leave at least like one, just one, like thoughtful comment, like a super like thoughtful, and then also hit follow. So this is how like you're gonna actually like collect friends on Instagram. So you're gonna have to just keep repeating this over and over and over. Like for a while, I was making it a goal for myself. We call it 3 likes and a comment. So like I was trying to 3 likes and a comment like 50 times a day for a while, just to like grow my following. You don't have to be that crazy. I mean, do what works for you. But okay, but sometimes it can be a little time consuming because you are gonna probably want to skip over the accounts that say they have like 5,000 followers, and maybe they're only following like 300 other accounts. So that would mean, that they are going to be pretty unlikely to follow you back unless you also had 5,000 or more followers and you're kind of on par with them, So, but otherwise like that, if you just have, normal like amount of followers, that might be a little bit of a waste of a 3 likes and a comment follow on your part. I'm not saying that it's impossible to actually connect with people that have a bigger following than you. You can. It just takes a lot more time and effort and consistency. But as far as like getting people to follow you back like right away, try to stick with the ones that are more like on your level. I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. And here's the thing too. So not everyone is going to follow you back. So you do your 3 likes and a comment and you follow. You're only, there's going to be a certain ratio of people that are going to follow you and ones that won't. And that's totally, expected. So all you have to do is you're going to want to clear out those people who aren't following you back. So use what's called the Cleaner app for Instagram. It's not within Instagram. It's a separate app. And I'll just do that and it'll pop up all the people who are not mutual follows, and you just like, okay, get rid of those, because this is part of our job. We need to find actual connections, not just us being another face on someone's followers. You know what I mean? Like that's not. So right now the goal is to get mutual follows. So okay. And also you don't want your feed super cluttered with like all these people who aren't following you back. So actually, even before you even get started doing this, you might be following like way too many people right now in order to have, we're about to get into the nurturing aspect. So like you want to actually be able to scroll through your feed and it be people that know you and care about you, so that you're not just like a fan liking someone, Sally, I have 800 million followers on Instagram. That's a waste of your comment and your like energy there. She doesn't care. but your people that are actually following you back, like you want your feed to be consisting mostly of those people, so that you actually are building relationships, through that. So, one other thing. The other thing about expanding your network on Instagram is just using your Instagram and posting regularly. And using those hashtags yourself, because other people are going to find you through hashtags too. That's a little bit deeper strategy we can go into later. But you can Google it in the meantime, I guess, how to do hashtags appropriately. But I want to clarify, you have to have a public account. So if your Instagram account is private, no one's ever going to find you. No one's ever going to see your post. So if you want to build your network on Instagram, it has to be public. So, okay. And then so we talked about expanding our network. So what about nurturing that network? I mean, we have already covered this somewhat as far as like how to handle your social media. The 10 people club thing, like that's totally what this is all about. The list of love, like that sort of thing. And we're going to be going over more as far as what to do in person in order to nurture your network. We're going to be talking about that more later on, but mainly, like, I mean, you probably know what this means, right? I mean, what we're talking about is just being a good friend. And that takes work. That takes effort. That takes, intentional, like, thought out work. One thing that some people are really big on is like writing handwritten notes. Lindsay T. Moreno, she'll tell you, like, in her very early days of building, business, like she would write handwritten notes. Like, I think she did like 50 of them every month or something like that. If you know the story, she's one of the most successful, living people there's ever been. Has like 80 bazillion people on her team. So, okay, anyway, but think of like your strengths. So like maybe writing, maybe that doesn't come easy to you. Maybe gifts are more your love language. You can be gifty all the time, like in not expensive ways. You can also do oil fairy things, like we've talked about that. Oil fairy, if I wasn't clear, not oil fairy, oil fairy, where you make little little things for people that are appropriate for their needs. And just, I thought of you. We've talked about that. So, or maybe you're a quality time person. So go and, see your people. All these things, you know how to be a good friend. I mean, but that doesn't mean that it's not hard. The whole point is like, you got to show up and be present in people's lives and stay connected with them. And if you are introverted like me, that is a hard part of your job. I struggle with this a ton. Like I feel like people have no idea how much I actually care about them, because I always constantly feel like I don't do a good enough job of like putting myself out there and showing them. And like, so for me, that is a constant muster up the energy to like make sure that person knows that they're loved. It's hard. It's hard, but it is a major part of the job, you guys, like super major. You're going to totally see what I mean, like the further you get along in your business. So, okay, well, let's continue that discussion. And okay, that's all I have for you today. I love you. Okay, bye.